It's a sports betting spotlight at the Wynn Las Vegas Sportsbook with handicapper Kelly Stewart, Sportsbook Director Johnny Avello. We're breaking down the Houston Texans, who went 4-12 last year. Their win total is up to 9 this year with the return of quarterback Deshaun Watson and defensive end J.J. Watt from injury. They're back, but at what level, Kelly?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like you mentioned, the Texans do have a really soft schedule this season, and that is what I'm banking on here. It gives them a chance to go kind of that first to worst, like we've talked about. They went 4-12 last season. I can see 7 wins, so that's easy, right, to start with. And that's if Clowney and Watt stay healthy. They've got to be able to get a couple more to squeeze out. They've covered 7 of their last 9 versus Tennessee. They get to play Buffalo, Cleveland, Indianapolis twice, at the Jets, Miami. There's probably a toss-up game with Denver, depending on how well that Denver defense pans out, and then another one at Washington. I'm going to take the over with the small juice, and I would not actually bet this in real life because I cannot trust this team to stay healthy enough.
Well, they were banged up in all areas last year, but the bloated Deshaun Watson was the killer. He was showing so much promise. In his first 6 games, the team was averaging 34 points a game, and they were running the ball effectively. But when Watson left, everything went south. I don't particularly like the running backs on this team. At receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, he's a very good one. He had 96 grabs last year. Defensively, if you've got J.J. Watts and you've got Clowney, that's really all you need. But you guys mentioned it, it's all about staying healthy. I like Coach Bill O'Brien. The team was 4-12, as you mentioned last year. 8 or 9 this year is what I see, so I have no choice but to go under the 9 because I don't know if they can make it past that.
Yeah, health is the huge question mark. As you mentioned, if Watson, it would have been hard to sustain that otherworldly level he was at last year. The last we saw from him, 400 yards and 4 TDs in that shootout at Seattle, and then he tore the ACL in practice. But if he even comes close to those numbers this year, they have a chance to go over the win total. You mentioned DeAndre Hopkins. I like him. He led the league in receiving touchdowns with 13. And Will Fuller is a good deep threat. Their running game and their offensive line are really questionable. But on defense, it has a chance to be dominant if Watt can regain his form. Merciless, as you mentioned. Merciless as well as Clowney. And they also added the Honey Badger back there as well. And as you mentioned, Kelly, they have one of, if not the easiest schedule in the league. They're favored in 9 games, favored by an average of 6 at home. And Bill O'Brien says don't bet against Watt's comeback, but I also don't really want to bet against Watson either. Seems like he's one of those special players, be an elite quarterback for years to come if he can stay healthy. Going over 9 wins for the Texans. That's our spotlight for the Houston Texans.